All right, we're back for another episode of Football with the Great American Youth. We got a guest on again this week. Ian, welcome back to the podcast. How's it feel? This is your first time on as last year's, co-league winner. So this is a big honor to have you on, We gotta give it up.
Congrats again. Congrats.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it. It was an honor to share the title. I'm back to defend, so I'm ready to talk a little bit more and see what we got. Appreciate it.
Cool. You want to start by telling us a little bit about your team this year, kind of how you drafted it, how you feel about it now, and just everything.
Yeah, no doubt, for sure. So kind of going into this year, the last couple of years I kind of had the same strategy, and that's draft Saquon. It's a very deep strategy. It requires a lot of thought, hoping he still is there when I pick.
You do it for your name, right? For your team name?
Saquon's Barkley.
Saquon.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, just making sure.
Have to. I think I like drafting my team. I go off like volume, so I like getting guys who I know are going to get a lion's share of targets or carries. I think that's always it's kind of what I did last year. I think it was the 8th pick, maybe 7th pick this year. I think it was 7th. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of good territory to get Saquon there. How he fell to me, I was like, okay, it makes sense. So I like that. I like that I was able to get him. Devontae Adams was kind of a no-brainer. The next pick, he was like clearly the best guy available. And then I like to get like 3 game breakers or guys who can win you a league. So that's why I reached for Hurts. Like he's a guy, if he can perform like he does, can kind of take you all the way. I think last year I had, might have been Lamar last year. Josh Allen, I think it was Josh Allen, someone like that. Or Sammy might have had him, but I kind of drafted based on that. Didn't value tight end too much. So I like my team. I think they've done pretty mid so far. Like I'm kind of right in that like middle pack, but Saquon's back healthy now. I think he'll be fine. Kyle Pitts looks like he has a brain and legs and hands now, which is kind of nice. I know Anthony was trying to get him for me for a bit, and I was this close to dumping him to him.
You fell into the Kyle Pitts trap. It is like a dangerous.
I did. I remember when I was picking him.
I said we were close to making a trade. I feel like for like a solid week, I was like throwing running backs out there. Like I feel like ETN, Jonathan Taylor, Miles Sanders were all kind of like out there. Yeah. And now I feel like I can't trade any of those players. So it's like a weird.
Yeah, I remember I was like, when I was drafting, I was like, all right, Goddard or Pitts. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to go with the targets. And I think Pitts will get a lot more targets because usually bad QB, or not bad QBs, but younger quarterbacks who are inexperienced just throw the ball up to the top targets. That's what like Garoppolo does to Adams. So I was like, all right, like I'll take Pitts for that reason, but he can't eat, like, I don't know. He doesn't look his way a ton, but it's been better the last few weeks. And then Richardson on my bench, probably not worth the roster spot anymore.
Done for the year, I think.
Yeah, probably need to get rid of him. Yeah, he's done for the season. Then, other than that, I like Pittman. He's solid. Good amount of volume from him. DeAndre Swift looks pretty good. I got to see him score in person. That was cool. I got to see Hurts throw a touchdown to Swift in person. I was like, all right, that gives me a shot.
Both your guys.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think we're in a good spot right now. Hopkins, I think, is in a bad system, but he'll get his share here and there. So I think right now just gotta ride out the tough weeks, work on the bye weeks, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, let's get into the stories of the week.
Yeah. So
we could start with one of the undefeated teams falling, the 49ers to the Browns. I mean, that was kind of surprising to me. I mean, obviously all the injuries kind of changed the game with McCaffrey, Debo going down, but they still had a chance to tie it with the field goal and
win it, right?
Yeah, essentially win it, right?
1917, I think. Yeah.
You're right. So they could have won it, and I thought he was going to make it for sure. I wasn't really concerned, but these losses are weird when you think about them because it's not really a team loss. It's more of just a kicker blew it at the end, but it still obviously counts on the record sheet. Yeah. So 49ers go down that way. I still think, in my opinion, they're the best team in the NFL, though. But
yeah, I think that game was cool. I think the Browns have the best defense in the NFL right now. I think they're insane. Myles Garrett, I think, should be an MVP candidate the way he plays, and Denzel.
They proved that. He
Yeah.
proved that.
I saw PJ Walker starting. I was like, this guy's gonna get it done. There's no way he doesn't. No, he was a guy. I was like, you know what? He's got some grit to him. But that's one of those. It's like, all right, trap game kind of. The reason I actually had a feeling he might miss the kick, it reminded me of Daniel Jones at his debut. Sorry to relate everything to the Giants. It won't be their first time, but Daniel Jones's debut was that game at Tampa when he like scored that rushing touchdown, and then the Buccaneers had a 35-yarder, easy to win it. But you had a weird feeling like something's gonna happen. Like this has been too perfect. Where like
He's
gonna,
earned it.
yeah. So he missed. I was like, that's honestly it makes sense. But I think depending on the injuries, they'll be
the Browns played better that game.
Yeah.
So they deserve the win. But
for sure.
Yeah. Going forward, I think the 49ers will be fine.
Yeah.
And then second game, I feel like Ian, it's only right that you talk about this one since you were there. The Jets beat the awful bad people of Philadelphia and their football team. So I don't know. How did it feel to be there? What do you think about the game?
They're not awful bad people. They're just average Philadelphia citizens. It was. Look, I know they're passionate sports fans. That game definitely a green out. Obviously, the same colors on both teams. It was literally
That's
just
cool.
it was a mix of Jets, Jets, EAGLES, Eagles. Like they were literally, it was nonstop in the halls going to the game every second. The Eagles were worse. Like there were so many more Eagles fans. I think there were probably more Eagles fans, and that's not a knock to the Jets. It's just there's so many Philly fans here because it's so close. Those fans made the trip up. So I actually had my friend from the Mets organized a group for us to go to the game. So we had like a private tailgate thing, which was sick. But we accidentally wandered into the Philadelphia tailgate first. So it was like six buses. And I can't lie, even though I like kind of despise those fans, that tailgate was crazy. Like they had like
cool.
food included. They had a stage with like fireworks going off and like a DJ and stuff.
Wow.
I was like, all right. They played Dreams and Nightmares like 6 times. It was pretty. And of course,
on brand.
they played Dancing on My Own like 4 times also. So that was it was
sense.
but that game was awesome. It was the energy was there. It was one of those where it was like, all right, how many times are the Jets or the Eagles going to let the Jets have a chance to win the game?
Yeah.
And they kept just giving them the ball back. Hurts would make a mistake. He did not play well at all. The Jets defense is a top 5 defense right now. Also, they're elite.
Definitely.
Garrett Wilson looked great. Hall looked great. We actually walked down after the Jets gave it up on a 3-and-out, and then we stayed down like the lower bowl to watch for the interception and then the touchdown. So it was cool. It was cool to put the Eagles fans in their place a little bit, but that life was rocking. I think the Jets are a team. I don't see them going that far without too much of a passing attack. I think they need something, whether they trade for Cousins, whatever it is. I don't know what it is there, but that was a super cool game to be at. I don't think it was a fluke that the Jets have frustrated so many elite players. So I think they're team. I'm hoping we knock them off in the 29th, but they're definitely a scary team for sure.
Yeah, they're good. And I mean, Eagles' first loss of the season for them. No more undefeated teams. Pretty wild. Last on the week, Anthony, do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I would say another, I guess, Ian, you got 2 out of the 3 stories this week. The Giants.
This is kind of you, too.
I know. The Giants close to the Bills. The Bills are just a weird team. Obviously, we've had a few stories about them before. Josh Allen's a beast. They have all the talent. They beat the Dolphins earlier this year. Like, it's clear that they belong with the top teams, but they just find ways to – it's kind of similar to that Jets-Eagles game, just giving the Giants opportunities to win the game. And, ultimately the Bills end up, taking the win. But I don't know. It's a weird – something about their team just doesn't feel that legit. And especially given how the Giants have played this year, kind of this game only confirming that. Also, Tyrod Taylor, Jacob and I were talking about this earlier. Maybe Tyrod Taylor is a little bit better than Daniel Jones. Maybe this is, maybe this is the conclusion also we got to come to after this. Daniel Jones got paid so much money for one all right season. He's an all right quarterback, but I don't know if the money matches the results. And this season, he hasn't been winning games either. So,
you elaborate, Ian.
Yeah, no, I think I tend to agree a little bit. I think Tyrod looked really good. I think he made good decisions. He didn't do too much. We were super conservative, like on like 3rd and inches, 4th and inches, kicking field goals, and I think that kind of hurt us. it's going to be tough to start Tyrod over Jones. I think the
Yeah, they
biggest thing,
can't.
yeah, they can't. I
You
think the
can't.
only shot, if he had won the game, that's one thing. The decision at the end of the first half is a big reason I think they're not going to. That's a benching decision.
That
Like
is.
what it
That's
was a,
bad.
I think the play call was a throw, and he audibled to a run, which is like you can't do that. I actually think the last play of the game was a great call by the Giants. Like I think that was the best play call they had almost all game. They were on the one on time down. I think a run to Saquon was going to get stuffed for like a 6 yard loss.
Mm.
Yeah.
The way the defense was playing, I love the jump ball to Waller. I thought it was put perfectly where he could catch it. I think there might have been a little bit of activity there. I think
As you
most,
can see in the photo.
yeah, most would agree that probably got away with one. That's the annoying part is they called a flag the play before, so you know that unless he rips his helmet off by the face mask, the way the NFL works, they're not going to call a second one, which is unfortunate. But could have won it. Probably should have won it if he gets two hands on that ball. But yeah, I think they're going to go Jones. But Tyrod, you saw he played with the same old line, arguably an even more battered up, like beaten up one, and was able to stay out of pressure, make quick throws, make quick decisions, didn't turn the ball over. So I think Jones can be more aggressive and take more downfield shots. But I think Jones now has a little bit more of a short leash where there's no excuse. Like we saw Tyrod was able to do okay with the line. Like now it's your turn. You got to make something happen. I know obviously we need to beat you guys this week in order to like stay alive for anything, pretty much.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's going to be a good game, I think. I mean, we're both very, very mediocre at best. At best, I would say. But yeah, it's kind of, in my opinion, it's loser this game. It's kind of on track to get last place in the division. But we will see. Let's dive into the Commanders this week. I mean,
Two guys.
back in the win category out of nowhere. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Howell's
what did
like
you think of the
Howell's just a weird, and I don't know. I like Howell. I don't know. He puts up the numbers and he's like distributing the ball well. His stats, like you're saying, he has the best stats of any quarterback in the NFC East right now. He's doing a really good job, but somehow our wins are just like uninspiring. Like I don't know. It's like we beat Atlanta, we scrape by Arizona, but then it's like we get thrashed by the Bills. Like there's a clear level that we're at. Like I guess we're better than the worst teams, but we're not.
I feel like we've played our competition. We
Yeah.
always played our competition, but when it matters, we lose. That's the thing, and we're gonna get our hopes up. We might win a few meaningful games here and there, but we're not gonna go anywhere. At least not this year, in my opinion. But yeah, I didn't really have too many reactions. Our defense honestly looked good at the end of the game. There, they had a few picks, but other than that, offense I feel like needs to be better too going forward. But yeah, the big fantasy matchup.
Into fantasy matchups this week. I got my win against Jacob. Jacob was talking all this mess. I let the league know Sunday night that I did this for them. This win wasn't about me. It was for the rest of the league. Jacob was getting real spicy with his undefeated record. He was talking a lot. He was getting real bold, and I had to, restore order to the league.
He humbled me.
We made some interest. Now, granted,
he humbled my team.
Your team didn't really have a great performance. I mean, 90 points isn't like that's a down week, but still would beat a good amount of teams in our league. Like it's not like 90 is terrible. My team just managed to pull through. I made some of the correct starts. ETN and Kieran Williams both picking up touchdowns for me. Waddle and Josh Downs both getting touchdowns for me. Madison ended up having one of his better games of the season. It wasn't that good, but still. And the only thing on my bench that I kind of am like, I started Jared Goff did so well. I feel like I just need to rock with him as my starter. Like, I don't know, I might start Matt Stafford this week, but I don't know. I might just have to carry on with Goff. And then Chuba Hubbard had a really good game this week. He got, fantasy-wise, 15 points, but just on the ground, I think he got 88 yards and a touchdown, which is better than anything Miles Sanders has done this year. So I'm going to keep both of them for now, but I would really like a scenario where there is some productive running back out of that backfield, and I have the top two options right now. So we'll see how that ends up
going. Yeah. I think you deserve the win. I think my team, they crapped the bed. I mean, I think I'm just used to my players going for at least 10 a game, and it didn't really happen. I think if they do go for 10 a game, this would have been a lot closer. And if McCaffrey didn't really get hurt. So I'm not really disappointed. Obviously, I wish I stayed undefeated, but I mean, as you said, 90 points isn't bad. It's not ideal, obviously, for a team that I was averaging around 120 a game. So it's not good for my standards, but I'll take it going forward. But I need to get the L off my plate. Now I can just go back to winning, So, hopefully, knock on wood. And then Ian, do you want to talk about your matchup?
Yeah, this was tough. My team definitely did not perform too well. It wasn't like a blowout or anything. I think it was in the balance a little bit. I think it came down to the receivers. His receivers went insane, both of them, insane high volume, both got 24.5 points essentially. And then I had Pittman did well, 9 receptions, 109 yards. Wish I could have thrown a touchdown there. Devontae getting 3.9 is crazy. That's awful. No volume from him. They didn't even look his way. I think it was Brian Hoyer starting a quarterback for them.
He got hurt. Garoppolo got hurt, right? Or
I think it was
Hoyer in the whole time.
Started, maybe. I think
he played a quarter, I think.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was going to be a down week once I saw DeAndre at the 9:30 slot had 1 catch. I think he had 4 PI calls against him, so they were looking for him, but he wasn't getting the actual points. Swift and Saquon did okay. They didn't do amazing, but they did fine. Hurts did 20 points, serviceable. That's fine. He didn't have a good game, but he had a good fantasy game, which was good. But yeah, for Yusuke's team, he had a lot of firepower. The receivers are great. Kenneth Walker, running back, Tua was a great QB. Mark Andrews did fine. Nakua didn't really do much at all for his first time ever, but he has Cooper Kupp, so it didn't really matter too much. I keep sitting Jacoby Myers, and he keeps doing well. So that's one of those where
you gotta play him now.
He won't do anything until I play him, but we'll see what happens. I have to play him this week. I don't really have a choice. Losing Richardson hurts because I think I was going to play him occasionally depending on matchups, but at the end of the day, Jalen Hurts will get it done, so I'm not too worried. But yeah, it was just too many guys underperformed. Kyle Pitts, touchdown, found the end zone. I wasn't dreaming. He actually did it, so that was cool. Buffalo defense didn't do too well. Can't really hate on that. It was against the Giants, so I was cool there.
Yusuke has a good team too. 116 is pretty solid.
116, yeah. Kenneth Walker's a great running back. His receivers are top tier, maybe the best in the league.
Amon-Ra.
Yeah, his bench went off too. Breece Hall, I'm shocked he benched Breece Hall.
I know.
I would have started Breece over James Cook in a heartbeat. But that it's easy to say that now. Addison's a pretty good play. Christian Kirk, he's a solid team, good depth. So he's one to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then just scores around the league. So obviously, my matchup beat Jacob. I'm up to 3-3 now, so back to 500. Joel taking a win against Alex. Joel, we're gonna get to him
fraudulent
in the next slide, but his team is remaining fraudulent. We mentioned it last week. It remains true this week, and next week I feel like get into it, but I feel like Joel's gonna get another fraudulent victory, and it's just. We got to stop this man from doing this. Sammy, kind of a sleeper team. He's won back-to-back weeks. He put up 125 points this week. He's silently coming back with Raheem Mostert. Justin Tucker put up numbers for him this week.
Justin Tucker?
I know. His team is starting out here. He's going to hit that next level soon. And then we have Matt Cohen beating Matt Levin. The Matt Bowl. It was a free win for Cohen. I mean, there's no.
It's a free square when you play Levin this year.
Yeah, exactly. That's a automatic.
Who's that one? I would love to find out who that was.
I'm looking at the Alex and Joel game. George Kittle got 1 catch for 1 yard. That's so.
Yo, what is?
Oh my god.
That's tough. Losing by 3. Eckler got 8. Damn. Jake Elliott got 1 and he missed a field goal.
Oh my god.
Oh, I remember he missed that too. It was like a 35-yarder. It was crazy. It was hard to tell from the angle I was at, but
The team that Matt Levin beat is Fraudulent Joel.
You know,
He beat Fraudulent Joel by almost 55.
Joel does this every year, doesn't he?
Yeah,
yeah, he does.
Typical Joel behavior. He's gonna make the playoffs though. It'll happen.
I can't even lie. He has like 6 more points than me, so I can't lie. But I'm biased. I'm looking at Joel's team. I think I have a better team. He has Tyreek Hill though. That's the only thing.
Tyreek literally is carrying his team.
Yeah, I guess Olave, Hill, Ridley. He has a decent squad. It's decent, but yeah, it's not anything special.
It was like it's fine. And then Yusuke, the final results of the week against Ian, and in the table now, the top 3 remain the same after last week. Jacob, Matt, Yusuke still the top 3 there. Joel in 4th place now, and now I'm tied for 3rd with Ian. So I feel like the tiers of the league starting to separate now. We have those 2 and 4 teams now, the 3 and 3 ones. I think this makes this week matchup like even bigger. Like falling 2 games back of a playoff spot is just never like this is about to be week 7. So after this week, we're halfway through the fantasy season. Just being 2 games back and then potentially 3 games back, like that's not. There isn't enough time really to streak into the playoffs from that. So, at this point, Alex and Matt looking rough for both of them. Sammy
13,
and Adwin,
17.
yeah, Sammy and Adwin are still there though. Sammy and Adwin definitely still there.
They need a win now. If they don't win now, their chances are falling.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to pick up, and definitely trying to keep the win streak for me going as much as possible. I know all of us. I guess everyone in this episode right now, if the playoffs were to end today, we'd all be there. So, congrats to us. We're looking good.
We're them.
We are. Currently.
Yeah. Jacob, you made the playoffs. You're a lock, man. Congrats. You're in.
98.
There's no way you're not going to win at all.
I was 99% last week. I don't know why I dropped.
ESPN, man.
I don't trust it.
One bit.
Yeah. And then, all right, week 7. Anthony, big matchup against Fraudulent Joel.
I feel like I know we need Fraudulent Joel merch. I feel like he's just I don't know. Justin Fields being out, I do think is meaningful. I'm sure he's going to be able to stream QB. I'm sure he'll be able to stream a good QB option there, but do you think that means something? I'm just not – I don't feel very confident in my team this week. Kieran Williams is out with a sprained ankle. I have bye weeks for Nico Collins, Chuba Hubbard, who seemingly is starting to do better in that backfield now. Obviously, no Justin Jefferson. It's just it's going to be a weird week for me with my matchups. Jonathan Taylor, I kind of have to start this week against that amazing Cleveland defense we were just talking about. I don't feel too good about that. Madison against San Francisco, again, don't feel too good about it. I don't know. There isn't a single matchup that I feel super hyped about, and Tyreek is going to get like 40 points as he does. Like Olave is going to do I don't know. He has very consistent volume. The one thing I'm curious if he ends up, starting Zach Moss still, if he rocks with that, how does the timeshare of that backfield continue to change?
That's a huge factor.
One going to be really pissed off on the 1 yard line when the other one scores. And be like,
exactly. That's going to be an interesting thing. And Jonathan Taylor, I feel like it could go either way. Maybe Zach Moss is having a good game and Taylor just doesn't really get touches, or vice versa. Maybe Taylor just takes all the touches and then that takes away a starter for the other person. So could go either way, but we'll end up seeing how the final matchups end up, falling into place, and then how that ends up going on Sunday.
Zach Moss has balled out this year, kind of.
I know.
Yeah, he's number 6 in the ESPN. It's kind of crazy.
I know he's been great this year so far. Yeah. All right, Jacob, you're up against Streak and Sammy now.
Against Sammy, honestly, I'm a little scared about this matchup. Before, when I looked at Sammy's team, I didn't think too much of it. I looked at it this week, and he has a lot of good players on bye, thankfully. He has Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, Adam Thielen, all on bye. Those are three of the top 15 receivers this year.
Next year's a pretty good team I'm looking at right now. It's not bad.
He is a solid team.
He's a really good
James
team.
Conner on IR, like
Jameer Gibbs won't have David Montgomery playing either. If Jameer Gibbs plays, he'll get his time.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. He does have some tough matchups, I think, but besides, I don't know. I'm a little worried about his team. He's on that 2-win streak, as I mentioned. Like, if he's playing Ezekiel Elliott, that would be nice for me because I don't think he'll do too much. But I don't know. I'm just a little worried. My team has some buys, injuries too, with McCaffrey shaking up. If McCaffrey doesn't play, I'm going to be very worried because I don't really have a third running back, and Mixon's out. So that's going to be a problem, especially with Tajay Spears, the only other backup I had, also on bye. So I'm going to have to stream some running backs this week, maybe try to make a trade. I have Elijah Mitchell if McCaffrey doesn't play, but feels like Jordan Mason might be the guy. I'm a little worried about that. So I'll have to see what happens there. But with receiver, all my receivers are there. They'll be fine. I'm not too worried there. They should have bounce back performances. I think A.J. Brown should have a good game again, too, against Miami. But we'll get into that later with the over-unders. But I think this is actually going to be a lot closer of a game. This projected score is not anywhere near what it should be because we don't have our rosters filled. But I think this will actually be a close game, even though I am 5-1. He's 2-4. I'm a little worried. So we'll see what happens.
All right, and then Ian, you got your like battle of the boroughs, equivalent in fantasy football. Now you're projected to do really well.
Here.
I know, projected to obliterate Adam this week. I mean, he doesn't have a kicker in, but I don't know. How are you feeling this week?
I feel pretty good this week with what I got going on. Bye weeks aren't too bad. Hopkins is out, so I'm playing Myers. Might end up helping me anyway, honestly. Just not really anything I would have changed. I think I could see Bijan having a crazy breakout week this week, like just going ham. I could see that, and then Kyle Pitts getting 0 because that's kind of just what he does. But no, Advin has a solid team. The running backs, I think Bijan's good. Stevenson's pretty solid, but hasn't been too great this year, so I'm not too worried there. Evan Ingram, I mean I have PTSD from him from his Giants days, so I'm not too worried there. Cooper's solid. A lot of high volume guys. Drake London. I think I have the advantage in most positions. It looks like every position, but Devontae Adams against Diggs, it has me. I think it's kind of disrespect. Adams is projected only 13 after just one kind of down week. I think he'll get a solid 16, 17 point weekend. Pittman I like also. Hurts and Swift on the Sunday night game. That'll be cool. The Dolphins don't have a terribly scary defense, in my opinion. I think it's fine, but I think the Eagles can do well there. That should be high scoring. Graham Gano has been good. Kickers are valuable. Guy's been, Giant success in the red zone is helping me there. So that's been nice. No, I'm pretty confident this week. I think anything's possible. It's a big game for both of us. If he beats me, we're both 3-4. This could be my 4-3 to get him back another game off my tail. So
you need this
patience, yeah. So that would be cool to see. I also don't have anyone playing in London, which is sick. I hate that. I hate waking up at 9:30 and being depressed for the rest of the day.
Stressing in the morning.
Like, oh, I already lost my game and it's only noon.
Yeah, I know.
This is awesome.
Brutal.
Yeah, having some night game guys too. Both of us have mostly 1 o'clock. Adwin has almost all 1 o'clock except for like Ingram on Thursday. I can't wait for a 75-yard Ingram touchdown to start off. That'll be great. But no, it'll be pretty close. I think it's always the projections mean little, as we know. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens. He might bring in a kicker who's projected 25, and then he's projected. So we'll see.
Cool. Well, let's get into the over/under, our favorite news segment. The postmortem to start. I had a rough week. Anthony actually caught up a bit.
Yeah, no, I feel good about my guesses last week. I gave Jonathan Taylor the under. We were talking about Zach Moss. He's been balling out this year, and I kind of had faith in that. 11.1 was a good amount of points for Jonathan Taylor, and he wasn't able to match that. So got my point there. We both failed on Goddard. We were expecting him to have a really good week, and he just didn't do anything.
Very mediocre. Not too good this year. But then Derrick Henry, we both got that wrong, unfortunately. We both took the under. That the Ravens' defense was solid. He hasn't been too good. But yeah, and that was the London game too, so that was a weird one.
They also literally just have no one else to give the ball to right now. They got to figure.
They have to feed him.
Yeah,
and he's getting old now, so they'll figure something out, I think. But then we had Jamar Chase. I said over. Anthony got the under correct there. So again, Anthony caught up by 2.
There we
got another big week here. We could start with AJ Brown. Ian, you want to start with over under 15.7 against Miami?
I got to witness him ball out on Sunday. He looked great live. Like this dude looks like he should be he's top 5 right now, in my opinion, in wide receivers. I'm gonna go over for AJ Brown. I do think it's more of I think Devontae Smith is due to have a good game, but I think this is gonna be such a shootout. I think both those guys are gonna have 6 or 7 catches, and the Eagles' offense is gonna have a good day. I'm gonna say AJ Brown finds the end zone this week, and that's gonna be that difference. So I'm gonna say just over.
Yeah. I like to hear that. I would say the over too. I will note though the Eagles did sign Julio Jones today. I don't think that really affects much yet, or maybe not at all. But I still think he'll go over. I think this will be a shootout against Miami, and AJ Brown's clearly the number 1 on Philly, and he's gonna get targets. Ian just basically said everything I need to say, so I'm gonna go over. Anthony?
Yeah, I think this one, I mean, to be fair, his last 2 games, he's gotten 15.7 away at the Rams and then 16.6 away at the Jets. So it's been close both games. He's around that mark, but he hasn't gotten touchdowns in either one of those games. So I do agree that I feel like he's due a trip to the end zone. I think this game is going to be a shootout. So I'll agree with y'all. I'll jump in on the over for this one.
Cool. And then Raheem Mostert, you could start, Anthony.
I mean, this whole Miami backfield is just kind of nuts. I feel like A-Chain was there for a little bit and he got hurt, and Mostert has been kind of consistent throughout. I feel like you have to go over here. He's been the number 2 running back in fantasy right now. He has 9 touchdowns already this season. He scored in every game except for one. I think there's really there's nothing. It was against Buffalo, and he just didn't he just had a dud game. He had seven attempts for 9 yards that game. So it was not a game that he was really involved, but I don't see that happening here. They've made an effort to get him touches and for him to get into the end zone. So I think they're going to rely on him. And again, if this game does end up being a shootout, like we're saying, there's no way Mostert isn't somebody who's getting into the end zone. I think it has to be over.
Ian?
I'm actually going to go under for him for this game, and I think realistically he probably should get over. I think this is a game where the Eagles' run defense, Hassan Reddick, do they still have Fletcher Cox? Is he still around? I don't know if he was, but
I think he is. Yeah.
Well, him and Jordan Davis now is.
Jordan Davis looks awesome. Nakobe Dean, if they get, I don't know if they'll get Jalen Carter back or if he's still out. But I think this is a game where they shut the run down. It's a lot more pass heavy. I think if he gets a touchdown, he should be okay. But I think this is one game where Mostert hovers around that 12-13 mark. I actually think the Eagles are going to come out and take an early lead, being pissed off about Sunday, and the Dolphins might have to play a little bit of catch up. So he could get it in the air off some throws. Also, Jeff Wilson might be back this week. I don't know if that's confirmed. Watching the Giants-Dolphins game this year, any running back on that team always has 6 yards of green grass ahead of them once they get the ball. So it's almost like a cheat code. But yeah, I'm going to go slightly under for him.
Yeah. Honestly, I was on the fence about this one. It's 16.7 is high, but he has had an outstanding season so far. I kind of agree with a lot of what Ian said. I think Eagles will come out hot, and that'll kind of make this a passing game, and the Dolphins will need to catch up through the air. I still think he'll get a touchdown. I still think he can get some yards. I just don't think I still think 16.7 is high enough where he could have a good game and still not hit that. I'm going to go under for 16.7 there. It could be close, though. I could definitely see this getting just crushed by with like 40 fantasy points or something. But I think there's a chance it goes under. So I'm going under there.
And then ETN, over-under for my matchup, going up against New Orleans for 14.6 points. ETN's been killing it for me the last 2 weeks. He's number 3 running back on ESPN right now. I feel like I like the over here. I think that he's starting to really hit his stride this season. Tank Bigsby was worrying me a little bit at the start of the year with some of his goal line touches, but they're committing to ETN a lot more. He's consistently getting touches in the passing game as well. So I think for half PPR, even if he doesn't find the end zone just on volume alone, if he can rush for like 80 yards, pick up 4 or 5 receptions and pick up another 40, 50 that way, that's gonna cover him or get pretty close there. So I feel confident that just on volume, ETN's going to be able to get that 14.6 over and probably exceed it if he can get into the end zone. How are y'all feeling about it?
Yeah, I was gonna say I do like the over on him. I don't think he's gonna do as much on the ground, but they use him so much passing also. Lawrence likes those quick little screen plays.
Yeah.
I definitely can see him getting in the end zone. I think he's gonna break off a ton of yards this game. I think it's gonna be a pretty heavy game for him. I could definitely see that 20 plus game from him coming up here. Yeah, I like the over for ETN off the volume.
All right, I'm actually gonna mix it up a little bit for me too. I'm gonna take the under here. He's been kind of inconsistent this season. I think it's kind of more just the Jaguars' offense has been inconsistent. The last couple games, they've kind of looked better. The last few games, I'd say they've looked good, but this New Orleans defense has been kind of solid all year. They haven't really played too many good running backs, but they haven't allowed running backs to really do much so far. It is a Thursday night game too, and those have been a lot of the primetime games have been lower scoring. Kind of what I've noticed, and I know that contradicts the Miami-Philadelphia thing, but I think that's an anomaly. But with the Jacksonville and New Orleans game, I could see that game being pretty low scoring, and that kind of would affect ETN's production. I think ETN needs a touchdown to hit this 14.6, so I'm gonna go with the under. And then back to that Miami-Philadelphia game, Tyreek Hill here, 20.5. It sounds high, but when you look at his numbers, that's not ridiculous at all. I mean, as we said, I'll start it off. This game's going to be a shootout. It's hard not to take the over with a guy like Tyreek Hill. Enough said. You guys?
I don't know. Part of me wants
over.
Yeah, I was going to say
it's not a question.
There isn't really a lot to.
What
I want to sound different and be like, this is the game he gets shut down. No, it doesn't matter. He's getting a touchdown. He's getting a 65-yard touchdown. It's every week over. This could have said 24 over. He's going to hit 30.
What line would have been realistic for you guys?
Probably 23. 23. I'll go 23.
Yeah, I'd say if it was like 20 out for me, it would have to be like 25.
Like, I'm saying
25, 6. If it was 6, I would say
that 30 mark. I'm almost at 30, guys.
The thing is, it'll be like the second quarter. He'll have like 4.6. You're like, oh wow, and then boom, 75-yard bomb.
That's 14 points right there.
That's every game. It's not like a once in a while. I mean, like you need to rely on one touchdown. Like he's gonna get it. He gets it every week.
You know he'll get at least one deep touchdown. So that's like 13, 12 points right there.
Yeah.
So
even
the question is,
5-yard line,
does he get like a few more catches?
Yeah.
And if he does, he'll hit that.
They love those like little out routes where they just dump it off to him and he runs in real quick at the 5-yard line. They like him everywhere for touchdowns. It's crazy.
If anybody says under to this line, they are crazy.
I'll run with him on the 1-yard line if they have to. He'll get in.
He'll get at least a touchdown in that mark. Glad that we all agree there. And I think that's a good way to end it. Thanks for joining our show, Ian. It was a
Thank you, Ian.
great time having you. Great time
Appreciate
looking at
it.
your team. Any final regards? Final comments?
No, it's I like this year's a competitive year. It's everyone's kind of like a couple people are 5-1. We got some 4-2. I think it's like really, really balanced. I like it a lot. I think this is a year where I think any of us can win this thing. And it's not going to be Matt Cohen, which is going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
Or Matt Levin.
Or Matt Levin.
Or Joel.
Yeah, or
Fraudulent Joel.
Fraudulent Joel. Yeah, I think anyone.
Please refer to him by his name.
Fraudulent Joel, FJ. If anyone can get in this thing and win, so it'll be a fun year. Playoffs are going to be intense, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
We're halfway almost. After this week, we'll be halfway. So
it's crazy.
Maybe we'll see you back again. I mean, we had you on the podcast twice last year because you won. So
I'll be back on the championship podcast.
All right, bold prediction here.
Calling the shots.
I respect it.
I'll be here.
But yeah, thanks for listening to the podcast this week. We'll see you all next week. Thanks again.